Good afternoon, everyone around the world. And today's talk still continues around the elderly, and we focus on the topic of hypochondriasis. What is hypochondriasis? And what are terms when people say, oh, I'm such a hypochondriac, or that person's such a hypochondriac? What do they actually mean? Okay. And if we look at it, a hypochondriac is somebody who fixates on bodily symptoms that usually manifest from a psychological root. Okay, so it's sometimes hard to decipher. Somebody has back pain. Is it really back pain? Or is it a little bit of a feeling and a sensation in the back that's being heightened and catastrophized more from a psychological perspective that is manifesting in chronic pain? So as people get older in life, generally their activity becomes less. Their senses of responsibility in life and challenges in life can be somewhat reduced in quality, but perhaps intensified, somewhat reduced in quantity, but perhaps enlarged in quality from that perspective. And what we're saying here is, when you end up not keeping yourself busy, not keeping your body busy, what happens is the mind gets busy, okay? Research shows that if you're not physically moving, you're mentally moving, which means the less you do, the more you think. The more you think, the more you're going to overthink. The more you overthink, the more you catastrophize. The more you catastrophize, the more you make mountains out of molehills. So in essence, as you get older, if you don't keep moving, keep fit, keep exercising, your mind is going to do that for you. Your mind is going to keep moving. Your mind is going to keep exercising, but not in a way that's helpful, in a way that's hurtful. Because what it's going to do is it's going to start looking for things. The brain is designed to be very imaginative. If you're not out there going for walks, looking out in nature, which is where the brain is using its imagination, then your brain is going to do it for you. And unfortunately, the brain is seldom designed to do it in a way that's helpful and is more designed to do it in a way that's hurtful. Especially if you're somebody that is genetically predisposed to stressing or anxiety or depression, your thoughts are going to become imaginative and creative in anxious, stressful, or sad ways, which means you're going to look for things. As an example, if you start having a little bit of sensitivity in your head, you're not going out and about, you're not moving, you're not allowing your brain to use your environment. What's going to happen is the little voice inside your head is going to say, what if? What if this is a serious migraine? And then what's going to happen is your brain is going to stress more. It's going to release adrenaline into your body and cortisol, which is a negative chemical, into your body. And that negative chemical is going to make you feel worse because it's a negative chemical. And because you feel worse, you are then going to think more negatively. And then suddenly it doesn't just become a headache. It's, what if this is a serious migraine? And then what if this migraine needs treatment? And the more negative you're becoming, the more cortisol and adrenaline is being released into your body to make you feel negative. And then you start worrying even more, because then you start saying things like, well, what happens if it's not even a migraine? What happens if it's a tumor? What happens if there's something seriously wrong with my head? And then what happens is you become in total distress where you can't actually function throughout your day because all your thoughts are centered around what you are experiencing physically. But it's so hard to decipher what is physical now and what is psychological because your emotions are so high. And when your emotions are so high, your reasoning ability is so low. There's a saying that goes, high emotions, low intelligence, and low emotions, high intelligence. And I see this to be very true because when a person is highly emotional, it is not wise to make decisions. That's why when people say after you've lost a spouse or you've suffered severe trauma, never make big decisions in that moment, because while your emotions are high, So you're not factoring all the necessary changes or consequences of what that decision would mean. But once your emotions settle and your emotions are lower, then your intelligence is high. Then you have perspective and calmness to think a little bit more clearly, because you're not in fight or flight mode. Your body's not pumping hormones into your body and adrenaline, cortisol into your body. And you can actually think about things a lot more clearly and a lot more logically. And this explains hypochondriasis in a large way. So if you find you're somebody that's starting to find yourself having a lot of aches and a lot of pains, I think you need to start asking yourself, am I actually physically moving enough? Am I actually doing enough? Have I got projects or hobbies or responsibilities that I'm really sinking my teeth into that are giving me meaning and purpose? Because if you don't, your brain is going to find things for you to sink your teeth into. And they're not necessarily going to be the best things for you. They're going to be things that limit your ability even more to try new things. And if you're somebody that generally struggles to try new things, or often has an idea of a hobby you'd love to take up, but you're Mr. Justifier or Mrs. Justifier, you're that person that always justifies why you can't do it, perhaps you need to sit and think about, am I expecting to start something and do it perfectly? Am I expecting myself not to fail at something? Am I somebody that will only do something if I've got a guarantee that it's going to be amazing? Well, if the answer is yes, then you just need to spend more time in your free child. You need to spend more time drawing and scribbling and sketching and actually embracing that the purpose for you isn't to create this perfect end product. The purpose for you is to spend some time just allowing your brain to imagine and to be creative without rating the outcome. Because it's often in rating the outcome that you block yourself from even taking that first step. So I'm going to encourage you, if you are finding that you or somebody you know is becoming very hypochondriacal, constantly talking about their aches and pains, often the direction of their aches and pains differ. It first started in a toe and then it went to a head, and maybe over time then it moves to a shoulder. Perhaps it's time to have a little conversation about what are they focusing on their life that is a goal for them, and how is that goal moving for them, and do they have enough in their life that's creating a little bit of change for them? Because if the answer is no, the body is going to be where their mind is going to take them. It's so important to have outward things to focus on. And I do realize that it's a lot easier to say than to do. But I would encourage you, if you're struggling to find that project, perhaps you can also let people be that project, but in a healthy way. Perhaps there's volunteer organizations, outreaches, something that you can even commit to once a week or even once every 2 weeks that gives you something to look forward to, gives you something to work towards, so that you don't have to keep going back to your body and fixating on your body, because all that's doing is making you more ill, but more ill psychologically, not necessarily physically. You want to get real with your brain. You don't want to trick it. So I would encourage you, if you're finding that you are Mr. or Mrs. or Miss Hypochondriasis, ask yourself, what more do I need to add to my life so I can get my thoughts out of my head and out there into the world where life is really happening? Because if I'm not, then maybe life is actually passing me by. I hope this helps. Please feel free to add some comments in the comments box, ask any questions, share any thoughts you might have and experiences you might have. We'd love to chat about them in the next series. Take care. Bye.